Hello and welcome back to Medicine Creek. Right, so it's now early summer. I have skipped a few in-game days, just waiting for things to basically tick along. But there is a few things now that we can pretty much crack on with. First thing I do want to mention though, is I want to be honest about this slurry basin that I've got and the problem that I've now figured out by getting this slurry tanker, which is the one I want because it's obviously a little bit more traditional to the area of like America or even Canada, as you can tell by the flag on the side of it. But yeah, I really do want to try this out. I actually do like it as well. It's something completely different than what I've pretty much used before in FS, so I definitely want to be using this thing. Now the only problem I've got with it is it isn't newer system capable, so it hasn't got a point where I can connect this kind of hose to it. And the only problem I've got now is the basin that I put in, which I do also like, only is manure system compatible, so there's no trigger. So I found myself with a little bit of a problem because I kind of want to keep the basin. I think it looks good here, and I did like put it in at the start of the game before I actually started up my series. I'm even terraformed just around the basin itself, and I do think it looks pretty good. So I do want to keep that, but obviously I don't know, I'm going to get my slurry out, which is a major issue. There is another slurry point just over here, which is where it originally spawns into on the map on this farm, which is just here. Now it does have a trigger here, but also it has a connection, so it kind of offers both options. So my only thought is if I'm going to keep it, I'm going to have to find a way of transporting it from there to there, which kind of beats the object of having this. But that's the only thing I can think of. If anyone else has got any ideas, greatly I'd appreciate if you could put it in the comment section to try and help me figure out how I'm going to get the slurry out of that into this. That would be ideal, but if I can't, I might have to get rid of the basin to keep that slurry spreader, or get rid of the spreader to keep the basin. So we'll obviously tackle that when we get to the point where we're going to need to spread some slurry, which is probably going to be very soon as well. So, but right now, let's focus on other things. But unfortunately, that is going to be a problem. So let's talk about the fields then. So they've progressed quite nicely. All the crops are growing really well. Weeds are still going crazy in the cornfields. It's like they're taking over the actual corn. But as you can tell, just by looking over at the fields, the soybeans have started to grow nicely. Bit of weeds popping up, not much. So the weeds are now fully grown. Might be a good idea to actually spray herbicide first. Look at this. I feel sorry for the corn. It's trying to grow through all this. But yeah, there's weeds everywhere. But it is coming up quite well. And we just need to pretty much, if we look at the map, the only thing we've got to do is herbicide in all the 5 fields, and then just this one field following the tram lines for fertilizer. So what I'm thinking of doing is I think we'll spray herbicide first in all the fields, and then finally, when it's a little bit more growing the wheat, and then we can spray some liquid fertilizer. That's the plan. Let's just quickly jump over to this so you can have a see. There we go. As you can see, the tram lines are even looking even better now. And as soon as I spray something on this, the lime will disappear. This is pretty much what you get though when you spread lime after planting. Like I said, ideally I would have done that before, but there's not much weeds in this field. There really isn't. Compared to the corn, it's nothing. But I think that's going to be the plan. We'll do herbicide first, and then we'll move over to the liquid fertilizer, which is going to be easy because it's just one field. So at any moment we could pretty much spray this herbicide. But I think what I need to do is, because I have got 15 cows, and even though they're not going to be my main focus on this farm, pretty much the crop side of things is going to be the main focus. We need to get some feed in though. We don't really need much, but we do need some. So I think the best plan to go with is to do some round hay bales with the John Deere baler that I've got there, and then use the Heston baler for the actual straw bales. And then with the silage that we do need, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it, obviously with the swather. And the beauty of that is it comes in windrows. I'm then probably going to just try and pick it up and dump it straight into here, because this is technically a fermenter. So if we just put some loose grass in here, this will do its job and ferment it into silage, and then every time we need it we can obviously get it out of this auger, this Brandt auger, and then just basically tip it either into the TMR mix if we want to do that, or straight in. And if we look at the actual food ratios that we need, you even need TMR, which is obviously going to take from, it's not Maize Plus, so they're not going to take all from every single category. What they're going to do is just take from the top one, or we could give them corn, soybeans and hay, but I think we should aim for TMR, and then pretty much just we need for that hay, straw and obviously silage. So I think the best bet is to try and get it in there, which means that I'm probably going to need a loading wagon because I haven't got a wrapper, but I do need to pick that grass up from the swath that's left by the swather. So I think in today's episode what we'll do is we'll start cracking on with the hay. We don't need a tedder, it's definitely warm enough, it's 28 degrees now, and if we cut it and just leave it, it should naturally dry out, and then we'll obviously do some hay bales. I'm going to be doing hay in this field. It's only small, but it's a good sized field to do some hay bales. As you can see, it's not the biggest field in the world, but it'll do the job. Kind of goes up a little bit there, and then a bit further down just here behind the shed. We can probably tackle the majority of it, and then we'll leave it to dry and do some round hay bales. I think that's a good idea. And then at some point we'll move over and do the mowing in the bigger field, which is a massive field, but I don't think we need all of it. The more we do, if we don't obviously put it into the fermenting silo, what we can do is just sell it for a bit of extra cash. I think the best thing to do is just crack on with this. We'll get straight in the swather and we'll start doing some mowing. I am keen to use this, I'll be honest. I have never used a swather before, but speaking to people that have got some knowledge about farming in the US, it's quite common. It really is a quite common thing to do, and they usually have quite a few of these on the farms. They're pretty cool, they really are, and they're quite useful because obviously they're dropping in a row, so you don't have to get a windrow or anything like that. And with it being nice weather out there, you can just leave it out in the fields. You don't have to worry about tedding or anything like that. Now the only thing I will say is the wheels at the back are crazy, they really are. If you turn, I found that sometimes you really need to just let off so it kind of straightens itself out on its own. If you don't, it can be a bit confusing, but you do get the hang of it eventually. Also as well, they are, when you think about it, quite small when it comes to mowing, but as you can see, they are really useful. They remind me of the big mower that you can get, the Crone mower, this one. But obviously they're a lot cheaper, these John Deere ones, these swathers. There is an actual really nice swather coming out by Polycount Modding. And I think it's in testing right now as I'm recording this video, so it should be out maybe by the time this video comes out. And it really is a high detailed one. It looks a little bit more modern than this current model. But it's something that I'm definitely going to put straight into the game, and also probably try and use it as much as possible. Obviously I've got this one, I can't really go out and buy a brand new one because I am trying to play this semi-realistic, but there's nothing stopping me moving over to another American map at some time, because I am enjoying this playthrough definitely, and then maybe using it then. But even this one, still really good detail to it. I am actually liking it. It's like a mini harvester that's obviously chopping the grass. It's pretty cool. So I think what we'll do is we'll just go around a few times, do a couple of headlands, make our life a little bit easy, and then just start doing the up and down rows. Now I imagine the reason that they're so small is because they are quite a small piece of kit. There's not much power, I'd say, behind that engine at the back. So I don't know if you can get bigger headers on them. They're not, obviously you can't detach the header. It seems like that's the way it is. Now I'll be honest, I haven't got a clue about these. I've never seen them in real life, but I imagine you might be able to get ones with bigger headers, but I guess it just depends on the cost and all that kind of stuff, and if you want that. And if you're doing small fields like we're going to do, because we haven't got many cows, we've got 15, I don't want to have a massive milking herd. Like I said, they're not the priority of the farm. But I think if you can fly through the fields and do some grass work, and that obviously does make things a little bit easier. I'm going to drive over this and tidy it up a little bit. Missed a bit. And then I will bypass the anhydrous tank. I'll come back up on that side. I still think we're going to have plenty here. We'll have plenty of grass to make some hay. It's quite basic in the cab as well. I imagine these are cheap and cheerful and good for farmers because they can afford, they're quite affordable, so you don't have to worry about the cost of them. I think that's pretty useful when you think about it. Just trying to think where to go now. I think I might start my up and down rows, because the good thing about the turning at the back, even though it can be difficult, is it is also useful, because the apex that you turn on is really easy. Right, so I imagine if we can just drop here, lift it up, swing around, you'll notice the turning is pretty cool, dead easy to do. But then when it comes to reversing, well, it worked actually pretty well that time. Maybe it was just me not knowing what I'm doing. Try not to miss bits. It's doing a pretty good job of it, to be honest. I am liking this swather. Right, so I think the best thing for me to do now is to do a little bit of a montage of me using the swather, chopping this field up, and then I'll cut back in when we're starting to bale. Right, so there we go. That was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. It's definitely a nifty piece of kit, this is. Never used one before, but I enjoyed using the swather. So, it did a good job. There's a lot of rows to pick up some hay from, so when it dries out there is going to be a few rows to go up and down at, but we'll definitely have plenty of hay for what we need. And I will be using this more often, like going forward, especially on American maps, but I'll probably just keep it to the American map playstyles and stuff like that, because I kind of want to be authentic to the area, but I did enjoy it. So let's go part this up, and then we'll crack on with a bit of herbicide spraying. There we go. Leave that there until we do the other field. We'll keep checking on the grass to make sure it's dried out, and then as soon as it has, we'll do some hay baling. Right, so let's crack on with doing some herbicide spraying. Now, we'll probably start with this field, and we'll just move our way through the fields one by one, and probably we'll save the last one. We'll save the wheat field till last. Now, what I have done is I'm transferring over the fertiliser that I put into here, back into the nursing trailer, and we're going to have to go and fill this up with the herbicide. It's a shame really, because when I did fill this up with the liquid fertiliser, I did anticipate to be using quite a bit of it, but it looks like we're going to be using a lot more herbicide, so instead of wasting any of the liquid fertiliser, we may as well transfer this back over, and then yeah, we can go and get some liquid herbicide, and we'll carry on from there. So, as you can see, it's empty now. It does hold quite a bit, to be honest. It's pretty good. If we just quickly look in here, you can see that this holds even more, so there's no point in me getting rid of all this and then filling this up with herbicide, because it's just going to be, yeah, a lot to waste. So we'll transfer it back over. Right, so there we go, that's now empty. So we'll just drop this bit. It's a bit strange. Let's see if we can sort that out instead of driving off. Probably not. Let's just see if we can reverse out from it. Or we'll move this one forward. That makes more sense. There we go. It's a shame about this nursery trailer doesn't actually have a place to store these hoses, because it doesn't actually have a trigger as well, so I can't just fill up by the side of it. So yeah, it is a bit strange. So we have to drive with that dragging along, unless we find maybe a truck that's got a place to hold the hoses. I don't know if I've ever seen a truck that's got that, but that would be useful. Right, so let's make our way down to the store and we'll go and get some herbicide and we'll get cracking with this. Right, so we're here, I'm filling up, and this is the end tank, this is the one with herbicide. As you can see, the money's going down quite a bit. And on the drive down to this co-op, I was thinking about the fact that I hope this lasts me out. I really do, because it's going to be a bit of a junk, keep coming back, and we can't fill that nursing trailer with any herbicide. And it is a better price here as well. I mean, I was going to maybe get some IBCs, but I think for 500 gallons, which is pretty much a third of what this holds, it's like 2,000 something, so you can see that we're pretty much paying that for 1,500 gallons. So I don't really want to be doing that, but if I have to, then obviously we're going to have to do that, and we might have to find a way of transferring the liquid fertilizer out of the nursing trailer after all. But we'll see how much it consumes doing this one field first. And then we'll also keep an eye out on the fields, because I do want to do the actual hay baling in this episode as well. So the main focus is pretty much the hay, but we're just doing this in between. Now, if we just have a quick look at the actual drying potential right now, it's not too bad. I mean, it is warm, but I mean, it probably should be a little bit better than that, because it is warm. Maybe it's got something to do with the wind speed being a little bit low, but still, it should dry out naturally. We might have to skip time a little bit till the next in-game day, but I'm sure it'll be dry by then at least. Now, I have been thinking about this map as well in general and what to do, because there's so many good American maps right now to play on. There's the Oklahoma map, there's the American Farming Life by Lancer Boy, there's also that Liberty Fields coming out soon, which is really promising, looks really good. So what I'm actually thinking is maybe doing one harvest on this map, and then seeing how much cash we accumulate, selling all the equipment, and maybe moving over to another farm somewhere in America. So we're obviously not starting again from scratch, but we're taking everything, all the assets that we own with us, or even selling them, and taking the money with us. I do like the idea of that. That could be something that we can maybe do, just so we can experience some other maps in America, because with FS19 coming to the end, I do want to try and have a play on some of the US maps before it ends, and if this series goes on for a long period of time on this map alone, then I don't think I'm going to get much chance to play on many more. So I think it might be a good idea to do that and just keep moving around. But then if we find one that's really good and then we don't want to switch over, like Oklahoma for example, if it just stands out and we're happy on that map and it's, you know, offering a lot to do, then maybe it'd be a good idea to just stick with that one, for example, if that's the one that stands out. But I think maybe after one harvest we'll have a look and see what's on offer, and then maybe switching over, because I know Liberty Fields is a really nice looking map, a lot of detail, but it is a times 16, so I think with the equipment I've got now it's going to be a struggle. Right, so let's just see the width of where we're at, because it is quite a hefty think it's 36 meters, so it should make easy work of this, and then we'll get an idea as well of how much. Ooh, bit too keen. Let's lift it up a little bit more. Right, so it's not consuming a hell of a lot. So this should last us out for a bit anyway, which is good news because it means I don't have to keep coming back and obviously picking up more herbicide in the sprayer. So I'm happy about that at least. I'm doing no crop damage, even though crop damage is on. I'll just show you so you can see. There you go, crop damage is on. But definitely this is going to be easy, really easy. But I'll still only do the one field because obviously I want to then speed time up a little bit and do some hay bales. I mean, this is much easier than spreading. Definitely is. When we're spreading solid fertilizer, for example, even though you can't spread solid herbicide, but if I was doing solid fertilizer, I wouldn't be getting, definitely wouldn't be getting as much of a width on this. So it does make life a little bit easier when you're spraying. So I think we're pretty much going to be just going around one more time, and then we'll come up probably once, maybe a little bit extra, and it'll be done. Dead easy this field is, really small. Field 61, so 52 will be the same. It'll be these fields that obviously take a little bit more time, but they're still good. Still good sized fields. 55 and 53. You can see the wheat's growing well. I do like the look of them tram lines in that field. I think it does just make a little bit more detail to the fields itself. And I think it's cool when you're following up the tram lines as well. I'm a little bit confused about the crop damage. I mean, I don't know if it's because... Are these being recognised as narrow tyres? I doubt it. Maybe it's because the crop's so small. I mean, I'm so used to playing on the Maize Plus maps with the forage extension and the actual crop destruction 2.0, let's say, where if you run over crop it will reduce the actual growth stage down. But I'm not actually seeing that, so maybe it is because we're catching it early. It's been a while since I've actually played a map that doesn't have Maize Plus. So I think it is that, just because of the fact that we're getting it early, to be honest. Right, so there we go, that's that done. Just part this up now quickly. And then I think all I need to do is just wait for the grass to dry. And then we can do some hay bales. I mean, it does look better though, field without any weeds in. Let's just have a quick look as well. As you can see, not many weeds in 62 or 52. But 53 and 55 really do need some herbicide, they really do. Right, so what I'll do is I'll keep an eye on the field, and then as soon as it's ready, I'll cut back in and we can do some baling. Right, so welcome back. It's now the next in-game morning, 7 AM, and all the hay is ready. Now, I don't know what the pickup's like on this baler, but I am pretty much struggling right now. I have set the bales to 6,000 litre capacity, as I normally know it. However, they're going to be in pounds, so we'll have to find out what that equates to in a second when the first bale's done. The pickup isn't that bad. I think I'm just trying to get used to the actual path that I'm taking. But at least we're doing some bales because it's good timing, because the cows have actually just started to consume their last hay bale and I've run out of silage already. So the only thing I've got left is one straw bale, which I haven't actually given any straw to the cows yet anyway, but maybe that is an option going forward to do actual straw instead of slurry, because we can get manure then, and then we don't have to even worry about having not having the trigger on the basin, but then again that kind of beats the whole object of having a slurry spreader and a basin. So maybe that isn't a good idea actually after all. I didn't even look at that bale then. I was too busy thinking about that slurry spreader and that basin to concentrate on how many pounds it was, but I will check on this bale. Now, if you noticed as well, this bit here, this second half of the field, I did do a second headland because I thought it was just a little bit easy to turn in the field when I did that. Maybe I should have done that on the other half as well, but I'll come round and do that headland first before I move over to doing the up and down rows. Right, so I think it might be coming up to probably around 400 and maybe 500. I think it's going to be £500, or just shy of that. £463, that's how much each bale is holding. So we should definitely get a good amount of bales from this field, definitely. And what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to obviously pick them up manually. I'm not going to be doing auto load because I'm trying to play semi-realistic. And then what else I'm going to do is store them away in the big red barn, the one just next to where the slurry trigger that comes with this farm. I've got a lot of space in there, so it makes sense. I did want to put them closer to where the feeding trough is, but I am storing my headers in there, and yeah, it works really well on there because you can access it from both sides. Oh, I am glad that I've got the mod that stops bales from actually rolling away, because we are on a bit of a slant, bit of a hill, so they would probably go rolling away. Right, so I think this is going to be a perfect time for me to do a little time lapse. This is going to take some time to do. This is going 8 miles an hour and there is a lot of rows. So I will put a bit of a time lapse. It probably won't be the whole field. I might cut in about halfway through so you can see the majority of it, but just so the time lapse isn't too long. And then I'll cut back in when it's all done and we'll just take a quick recap of how many bales we've got and then what we're going to be doing in the next episode. And there we go, that's that done. All the hay has been made. We did make quite a lot of bales. I'm just cleaning off the baler. I do like this baler. At the start I did think the pickup might be a little bit off, but actually it was spot on. And I do like how it drops when you're dropping down the pickup at the bottom. The whole baler drops as well. I do like that kind of little feature to it. It does look pretty cool. Yeah, let's give it a quick clean. I mean, it wasn't that expensive as well. And I have been thinking as well about what I mentioned about moving over to different maps. I think that'll be pretty cool to do, and if each time we do it, maybe like try and play through maybe three or four, depending on how many maps we can fit in. But 3 and 4 American maps before FS22 comes out in November. And every time I switch over to a different map, we'll sell all the equipment and we'll accumulate the money that we've made, obviously, and take that with us so we can keep it expanding. I think that'd be a good idea. Right, so that's that done. Let's just have a quick look at the bales and see how many we've got. There was quite a few. There definitely was. As you can see as well, the field is scattered with them, which is pretty good. So it will say 6,000 litre bales, but they are, as we saw, in pounds. I think the actual TMR mixer as well will be in pounds. Let's just have a quick look at that. Yeah, so actually it does say 18,000 litres, but we can go, I'm sure, to animals and we can have a quick look at one of these. So as you can see, it does say in pounds how much it holds, so when we do the mix it should tell us in pounds, hopefully. If not, we can figure it out. It's not too hard to do. So let's just have a quick look at the stats. You can see that it's 23 bales. Not too bad at all. So in the next episode what I'll be doing is obviously putting these away. I'll probably do, before the start of the next episode, I'll probably take a lot of them off the field onto the trailer, and then I'll probably unload them in the next episode because it will take quite a while. And then I think the main focus as well is going to be to get the herbicide down on all the ground that we need to. There is a few fields left. We've done the one, but there is the majority of the fields still need herbicide. And then all we'll need to do then before harvest is a bit of silage, but probably not much thinking about it. I don't think I'm going to do it to sell. I think the main focus is going to be on the actual crops that we do to generate the income. But we'll do some anyway just because the cows will need it and we can make some TMR. And then I think the last thing is going to be to fertilise the big wheat field. And then we'll pretty much be set for harvest. But on that note, I am going to leave the video there. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. That really does help my channel out. And also, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this one on Farming Simulator.